Okay, welcome. Today we're going to be going over the Week 4 schedule of the 2022 NFL season. Going to be going through each of the games and who I think is going to win. We're going to be making my predictions and all that. You know the drill. So as you can see, last week I did not do so hot. Went 7-8, and Week 3 was definitely, to say the least, one of the weirdest weeks. Obviously, every season you have one of those weeks where just a lot of the weird games happen and stuff like that. So obviously you had the San Francisco-Denver game. You had Jimmy G running out of the end zone, pulling a Dan Orlovsky. You had Miami punching the ball off their own player's ass, and then Kansas City just not pulling it off against Indianapolis. So definitely a weird week to say the least. So 7-8, not good. So hopefully this week I'm going to do better. And without further ado, we're going to get right into it. So to start the week, we have the Thursday night matchup between the undefeated Miami Dolphins going against the defending AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals. So this is interesting. Miami is one of two unbeaten teams left in the league. I think they've surprised a lot of people, except maybe the diehard Dolphins fans. But this game, I think, is actually going to be a lot closer than people think. And I do think it could really go either way. And I've thought about it. Originally, earlier in the week I was going to go with my gut and pick Miami, but I think that the Bengals winning last week, I know it was against the Jets, but it was a good confidence boost for them. I think it was a win they really needed. And if you look at it on the Cincinnati side of it, they've been in all of the games that they've played this year. In week 1, they really should have beaten Pittsburgh, even though they played terrible. They could have beaten Dallas in week 2, and they won in week 3. So this will be a good test for both teams, I think, though. And on the Miami side, I think they just came off a pretty tough game against Buffalo. Although they got a dub out of it, but I think it was definitely a hard-earned game. But if I had to go with my gut on this one, I'm going to go with Cincinnati, especially just because really don't know how Tua is doing. I mean, I think he's going to obviously be okay for tomorrow's game, but I think with just going with my gut on this one, I think I'm going to go with the Bengals, but I do think this game could go either way. It's a definitely a game I could see going either way, but I'm going to go with Cincinnati, and they are at home, so Bengals for this one. So next game, we have a early game in London between the Vikings and the Saints. I'm going to go with Minnesota on this one. I just think they have the better team. I really don't believe in New Orleans a lot anymore. I just don't think Jameis Winston's that guy. Pretty damn good roster, but if you have your field general and it's Jameis Winston throwing picks a lot of the times, I just don't have a lot of trust in them. So I'm going to go with Minnesota on this one. Don't need to elaborate too much. This one is, I think, another toss-up. Cleveland at Atlanta. So originally I was going to go with Cleveland for this one, but Myles Garrett had that accident earlier in the week. Hopefully he's all good. From what I hear, he's all good, but don't believe he's playing in this one. I think that's really going to be felt for them on the defensive side of the ball for sure. In Atlanta, they're a feisty team. I really do think they're a feisty team. I don't think they're a playoff team, but they've been in a lot of their games, and they're going to fight you right until the time is off, So I could really see this one going either way as well. But I'm going to go with the Falcons on this one. They're at home. They play better at home. And going against a beat-up Cleveland Browns team, I'm going to go with the Falcons. So next game we have on the schedule. This, I think, is game of the week. There's a couple good games this week, but this one, I think, is the one everyone has circled. Buffalo at Baltimore. So both of these teams have fallen victim to Miami. And this one I could really see going either way. Buffalo, the number 1 defense. Baltimore, the number 1 offense. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are both having MVP seasons. I think right now, if people had to put an MVP front runner right now, I think it's Lamar. So this one is another toss-up. I could see this one going either way. Buffalo, I could see them playing really pissed off, especially how the last game ended against Miami. They didn't even get a chance to, run a play before time expired. And Baltimore, they played pissed off last week for what Miami did to them the week before. So I expect this one to be an absolute dogfight, and I think it's going to come down to the last few minutes for sure. But I could see this one going either way. But I'm going to go with Baltimore on this one just because they're at home. Lamar's playing out of his mind. I know Buffalo's defense is still a little beat up. But if you guys were to pick Buffalo, I completely understand why you'd pick them. But for me, I'm going to go with Baltimore. So, next game we have on the schedule, division opponents going at it. We have the Washington Commanders at the Dallas Cowboys. So, Cooper Rush. All right, he's holding the fort down while Dak's gone. Playing pretty damn well. And who knows, maybe once Dak comes back, maybe that seat won't be so warm anymore. But obviously, I think that no matter what happens, I think that they're still going to run in with Dak when he comes back, as they should. They're paying him an assload of money. But for this game, went on a little tangent there, but for this game, I like Dallas. I like Dallas a lot more than Washington. I think they have a better team. I think their pass rush is definitely going to make Carson Wentz, definitely going to make him earn his money, and they're going to get to him. And especially Michael Parsons, I think they're going to he's going to make his presence known. And Cooper Rush, he's just doing what he needs to do. He's holding it down while Dak's gone, and Dallas is winning games, So for this one, I'm going to go with Dallas. Next game we have the Seahawks at the Lions. So this one, I don't think I need to elaborate too much on this one either. I think Detroit just has the better team. They have a great offense to start the season. They're going to be at home. Low-key really should have won last week. Just bad decisions towards the end of the game. Should have beaten the Vikings. But on the Seattle side of it, you really just don't know what you're going to get with that team. It's really 50-50. But I like Detroit's roster, and I like that they're really starting to build that identity, and I think that I'm going to go with the Lions on this one. So next game we have on the schedule, we have the Chargers at the Texans. So the Chargers for sure, last week I think was a big eye-opener for them. Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars lit them up, and it was in LA, and I know Herbert's a little beat up, and that whole team's beat up a little bit, but I think they're going to bounce back in this one. I think they're going to win this game. And Houston, I know they haven't won a game yet, but man, have they showed a lot of fight. Have they showed a lot of fight this season for just a team that nobody really has high expectations for. I know I don't, but they're still showing a lot of fight, so I got to give the props to the Texans. But for this game, I'm going to go with the Chargers, but I really think that, if Herbert needs his time to get ready, give him his time, especially this would be the game to do it. I know that he's still a little beat up from that Kansas City game a couple weeks ago, but for this game, though, I'm going to go with the Chargers. So next game, two division rivals going at it. We have the Titans at the Colts. Colts coming off their first win of the season, as are the Titans. So this one will be in Indianapolis, and I got to say, I think for this one, I think it's going to actually be a pretty damn good game. You have two of the high-key running backs in the league with Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor, so it's going to definitely be a run-centric game, I believe. And it's just a matter of who's going to make the better decisions and who's going to run the ball better. But I think I'm going to go with Indianapolis on this one. They're coming fresh off that win against Kansas City, and I think that's really going to be a good confidence boost for them. I think that's going to be something they really, really need to turn their season around. Tennessee, I think they're going to stick. They're going to stick in this game the whole time, but I think Indy will be able to pull it off at the end. So for this game, I'm going to go with the Colts. Next game, we have the Chicago Bears at the Giants. So this game, probably one of the worst games of the week, but the Bears, they're 2-1. They haven't played anybody too great. Same with the Giants, but looking at it like this, I think if I have to really pick one, I'm going to probably go with the Giants just because I don't know if the Bears are going to have an answer for Saquon. He's having a great year. Comeback player of the year for sure, at least for right now. And it'll be in New York. I think that they'll have a bad taste in their mouth after Monday, and I just don't know if the Bears have enough to compete with the Giants. So, I could see it going either way, but I'm going to go with the Giants on this one. So this is a very interesting game. So this is the Jaguars at the Eagles. So I think last week in particular, the Jaguars put the league on notice, and Trevor Lawrence put the league on notice that Trevor Lawrence is here. He's arrived, and what a difference, what a year makes. We saw what he went through last year with Urban Meyer, and we're seeing what he's doing now with a competent head coach and a team built around him. Jacksonville is a great team, and I think they woke a lot of people up last week, especially with the beatdown they did to the Chargers. But they're going obviously against the other undefeated team in the league, and that's the Eagles. This will be Doug Peterson, coach of the Jaguars, going against his former team. So this is a really interesting game, and I really, really had to think about it. And Philly, they have a great offense, and the defense is pretty solid too. And Jacksonville, pretty damn good offense, and they have a pretty good defense as well. So this was really one, I know a lot of people might be shocked, but I really had to think about it. And I'm going to go upset alert, and I'm going to go with Jacksonville on this one. I think Doug Peterson is the better coach in this situation. He's going to help Trevor Lawrence out. I think Trevor Lawrence, this will be a good confidence boost for him. I could see this game going either way, though. Jalen Hurts is playing out of his mind, too. He should definitely be in the MVP conversation. They have great run game, great offense. But for this game, I'm going to actually go with the Jaguars. I think that Trevor Lawrence is really going to have a field day out there. And I'm going to actually go with the Jaguars for this one. So, next game we have the Jets at the Steelers. So this one was just a weird one for sure. I had to actually think about this one a little bit. So I've lost all faith in Mitch Trubisky, and I've lost all faith in the Steelers. First off, on the offensive side of it, they have Mitch Trubisky at quarterback, and he's not proven anything to me at all about what he can do. And on the defensive side of it, their defense is really, really struggling without TJ Watt, and you can see it. And on the Jets side of it, I'm hearing rumors that Zach Wilson actually might make his season debut. Don't know if that's happening yet, but whether it's with Wilson or whether it's with Flacco, I'm going to go with the Jets on this one just because I don't trust Pittsburgh. I've lost faith in them, and I just really don't. I'm not feeling Pittsburgh. Just not feeling them. So for this game, I'm going to go with the Jets, but I could see it going either way. This is a toss-up game for sure. Another game we have the Arizona Cardinals at the Carolina Panthers. So this is just two teams that are kind of struggling out of the gate. They at least both have a win, but this one was one I had to think about for a little bit. I really don't like either of these teams so far, but if I had to pick one, I'm gonna probably go with Carolina just because I really don't trust Arizona. I mean, I don't trust Carolina either, but this is just me picking. I think I'm gonna go with the Panthers just because they'll be at home, and I think that win that they had last week against the Saints will be a good momentum and confidence booster going forward to this week. So for this game, I'm going to go with the Panthers. Next game we have the Patriots at the Packers. So this is interesting. Mac Jones will not be playing in this game, I believe, after that high ankle sprain. Even if he was playing, I don't think I would have picked New England. I think New England their defense will definitely make it hard on Rodgers. It's not going to be easy. I think everything's going to be hard earned, but I trust Aaron Rodgers more than whoever New England will have at quarterback, and this is going to be in Lambeau. Aaron Rodgers plays out of his mind all the time when he's at Lambeau, except in the playoffs. But for this game, I'm going to go with the Packers over the Patriots. Next game, two division rivals going at it. So this is interesting. Both these teams had high expectations going into the season. And on the Denver side of it, there's a little bit of concern about their offense. You added one of the marquee quarterbacks in the offseason, Russell Wilson. And although their record is positive and they're 2-1, I think people, including myself, are just feel something's not right. Something's not right, whether it's the coach or how he's trying to change Russell's form of playing. Something's not right. And on the Vegas side of it, I think this is a must-win for them. They're 0-3 to start the season, and they should have at least one win. They should have beaten Arizona. And really, they could have won last week against the Titans. So this is a must-win for Vegas. They had high expectations getting Devontae Adams, Chandler Jones. They added a lot this offseason. So Vegas has failed me a couple times already, 2 weeks in a row. But I do expect that to change, and I do think that they will get their first win of the season. I think this is a toss-up game. I could see this one going either way. But I'm going to go with my gut, and I'm going to go with the Raiders just because I think they're going to be kind of playing with that. They're going to be desperate. They really need a win, and they're on the ropes right now. To say that about a team this early, I think it's because, the expectations they had at the beginning of the season, the division they're in, it's not going to get easier. So I do expect Vegas to bounce back, and I do expect them to win this game. I am going to go with the Raiders. So the late game on Sunday, we have the Chiefs at the Buccaneers. So rematch of Super Bowl 55, so this will be interesting. This will be the first time Brady and Mahomes have played each other since the Super Bowl. I'm excited to see what this one's going to bring, especially, what Tampa did to them in the Super Bowl. I think that Kansas City's going to have a bad taste in their mouth. Both rosters have big changes since then. I know that was ages ago, but this will be an interesting game. I know it's at Tampa Bay, but with the hurricane going on in Florida right now, I believe I'm hearing reports that Tampa is going to be moving towards the Midwest to play their game. So home field advantage will not be a big factor in this game, I do not believe. In fact, if it's going to be in the Midwest, I think Kansas City might have more fans at the game than Tampa Bay. But Tampa Bay will be getting Mike Evans back, and I think their offense, we don't know about Julio Jones coming back yet or Chris Godwin, but both these teams lost last week, and they both have a bad taste in their mouth. This one I also have as a toss-up game. I really could see it going either way, but I think I'm going to go with the Buccaneers on this one just because, you don't see Brady lose back-to-back. You don't. And I think he's going to be pissed off after what happened last week, getting so close to beating the Packers. And I think that with that, I think Tampa Bay is going to pull out the win. And like I said, it's a toss-up. I could see it going either way. But for this game, I'm going to go with the Buccaneers. And for the Monday Night Football game, we have a rematch of the NFC Championship last year. Two division rivals going at it again. We have the defending Super Bowl champion Rams against the San Francisco 49ers. So this is one of the better games, I think, of the week. Both of these defenses are rock solid. This was one I could really see going either way. And both these teams, I guess you could say, have had a little rough start. I know San Francisco losing their starting quarterback, and the Rams, you can just kind of see that, they're not there. Maybe a Super Bowl hangover if that's what you want to call it. But, I think these teams play each other so well, and it's going to be personal. I think that on the San Francisco side of it, they still have the bad taste in their mouth from last year. And the Rams, I think, want to prove their point to the 49ers that, it wasn't a fluke that they beat them last year. And I think it's going to be a pretty damn good defensive game. I don't know what to expect on the offensive side of it. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. But if I had to really go with my gut on this one, I'm going to go with the 49ers. I think their defense is just a little bit better. And I think, I can't even make any predictions on the offensive side of it just because I think both quarterbacks are going to have a rough time. But I think San Francisco is going to be able to pull it out. And Jimmy G actually having a game under his belt now and kind of gotten those training wheels off to start the season, I think he's going to play a lot better than he did last week. So for this game, I am going to go with the 49ers. So those are my picks for the Week 4 schedule of the 2022 NFL season. Let me know in the comments who you got, and I again thank you for tuning in, and we will see you later.